So good morning, everybody. So great to have you here with us. I'm really happy to have this workshop today led by my very dear friend, Jack Olato, who I think you'll really enjoy learning from today. Jack has done this workshop in the past, and I always learn something from it. I think it's great because it includes a whole really interesting collection of topics that kind of hit a lot of the areas that we have in fundraising. So to back up a little, my name is Sharon Goodson, and I work for the Leech Tag Foundation. And this workshop is one in the curriculum that we have for San Diego Gives, which is our big nonprofit capacity building donor education program that culminates in that big day of giving on September 8th for online crowdfunding. So Fundraising Academy at Ashland University is one of our wonderful sponsors, and we really appreciate that very much. And with their help, we're able to keep the costs for nonprofits participating in this very low, and able to hire PR folks and do some advertising. So it's a really big help. We also have other workshops. We actually have 3 happening this week. We have this today, a marketing workshop with our PR consultant, Sarah Wacker, on Thursday, and then a marketing office hours on Friday. So lots going on as we are in the last 5 weeks or so before the online campaign. So there's a lot of help out there, and if you need anything, you just really let us know. We could also connect you with an individual mentor as well. One of our volunteers, maybe who has done this, who was in did the project last year. We are recording this, and we will share the link to the recording as well as the PowerPoint slides that Jack has prepared. And with everybody, as soon as we get the link uploaded to YouTube. So if folks aren't able to join us or you want to replay, you're absolutely welcome to do that. So as you probably saw, this is part 1 of the 2-part workshop series. And so we will have part 2 next Tuesday. And I think that, should be great. So I am going to turn it over to Jack. We do have a very small group at this point. So we'll probably keep this pretty informal. If you have questions, please put them in the chat, and I'm happy to look, to monitor that, as is Sarah Wu, who's on, and you'll be hearing from her in a minute, from the Fundraising Academy. So we'll make sure all the questions are answered, and we'll go from there. So Jack, can I turn it over to you?
Sure. And first, I'm going to introduce my colleague, Sarah Wu, from the fundraising. She's been there a month, and she's done so much work. Since she's been there, Sharon, I've been able to put my feet up on the desk, sit back, relax, and have a glass of wine whenever I want. She is such a powerhouse, and she's going to tell you some of the things that we do at the Fundraising Academy.
Jack, thank you for the introduction. Jack is not tooting his own horn enough. Jack is an amazing Fundraising Academy trainer. So I'm so excited to be here with all of you to tell you a little bit more about National University's Fundraising Academy, and Jack, our incredible trainer that's here today for the workshop. So a little introduction. My name is Sarah Wu. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the new program manager for Fundraising Academy. I love to be connected to nonprofit fundraising professionals and anyone who is an emerging fundraising leader. Fundraising Academy offers professional development and training programs for emerging fundraisers to give you actionable tools just like this workshop to make an immediate impact in your cause and in the field. So we really believe in strong relationship-based donor interactions. And so Jack is going to talk about, this is a great workshop to show you how you can enhance your fundraising career by really looking at epic fails. Like, what is it that when you take something that is a challenge, how do you turn it around and overcome that challenge? So I'm so excited to introduce Jack Alato, who will be going through the first 5 of our 10 epic fails from Fundraising Academy, things that we see in the industry that we really want to help fundraisers like you and nonprofit leaders and foundational leaders really take your challenges and move forward from them. So we're going to go over the first 5. And as Sharon mentioned, we do have a part 2 of this amazing training next week, and I will post the link to register to that in the chat. So take it away, Jack.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. And it's true, I have been able to put my feet up on the desk since Sarah has come to the organization. So in chat, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about the number of years that you have been fundraising. And I know Sarah will tell me anything that's in chat, or you guys can interrupt. We've got such a great little group here. Feel free to unmute yourself or put it in chat or raise your hand or whatever. And I'm fortunate because I have the 2 S's, S squared, Sharon and Sarah. So they will interrupt me as we proceed through this workshop today. Anybody in chat there, Sarah, that you could see?
All right, we got a couple people interacting with us. So Jennifer mentions that she has been fundraising 5 years now. And we got Natalie here. Hi, Natalie. So she's a baby fundraiser 1 year. And then we've got Addison, 2 years. Daryl here says only 1 seasoned communications professional, but this is my first time being part of a development department rather than a separate comms department. Great to have you. Diana, never have done this before. Love that. We're here to help you learn and how to overcome upcoming challenges and maybe make it so you don't have some of these epic fails. We've got Jess here, 22 years. They're the executive director of Guitars in the Classroom, mostly funded our work through grants and corporate donations. Alba here with the Arc of San Diego in development 2 years. We've got 8 years from Kristen and Selma, almost 2, and Gabriella, 22. So we've got a very, very diverse group here, Jack, for you. So I think there's going to be something for everyone in this workshop and the part 2. So there you go.
Great. So let me start off by saying that every single one of these fundraising fails I have committed. That's how I'm able to do this workshop, because I have committed these fundraising fails. But not only have I committed these 10, but I probably committed another 100 that we probably won't be talking about. So what are our objectives today? Our objectives today are to explore common epic fails and what contributes to them, and how can we avoid them as fundraisers. Number 2, from now on, I don't want to call them epic fails. I want to call them hidden opportunities. Because one of the reasons why I call it hidden opportunities is because when we fail at something, it's a teaching moment. If we open ourselves up to understanding what happened in the development process, in the development relationship, whether it's with a program officer at a foundation or a major gift donor or someone who makes an annual gift to our organization. And then finally, my final objective is to develop tools from the cause selling cycle that will help you strengthen your fundraising practice. Now, you guys know National University, our fundraising academy, we use the cause selling cycle, which is a relationship building cycle. I love this. There are several relationship building cycles in fundraising. There's Simone Joyeux has one. She has a great book out that talks about the relationship building cycle that she has. Hank Rosso from the 90s also has one. So there are lots of fundraising cycles. We use the cost selling cycle of relationship building. And that cycle is divided into 3 phases. And if you haven't, I'm sure Sarah will put our cohort, which is coming up here in September. It's a great opportunity for you to get an in-depth understanding of cause selling. But our first phase are all of the things that are necessary to prospect for qualified donors. One of the biggest questions I get in my work at the Fundraising Academy is, how do I find prospects? Every one of you guys on this webinar today is probably asking the same question. Jack, tell me how to find more prospects so that I could put them in that donor pipeline. So in phase one, that's what we talk about. In phase two, which is approach, need discovery, presentation, and handling objections, this is all that face-to-face interaction that you would have with your prospective donor. And finally, which is not the end, phase three is everything that happens after the gift is given. And like all fundraising cycles, that process begins again. With stewardship, we start that whole process again. So what do you think of when you hear the word sell? And you could put that in chat. You could put it, raise your hand, unmute yourself, whatever you'd like to do. What do you think of when you hear the word sell?
All right,
Anyone?
Jack. We'll have people start putting their answers in the chat. I've got, when I hear the word sell, sell me this pen, or I think of used cars or used car salesman, not authentic. These are great. Keep them coming.
Right.
Sharon's got needing to convince someone of something. And Alva says our cause is a product too. Ooh, Alva is ahead of the game here.
Yes.
Jess says manipulation and transactional relationships. Yep.
Wow. Wow. So, you know, we say cause selling. Well, truthfully, we sell every day. We sell.
Everyone does, right?
Everyone sells. I mean, right now I'm selling how to overcome 10, these 5 epic fails that we're going to talk about today and 5 more next week. I'm trying to sell you on lots of things. Here's the thing that you probably guys do. Those of you who are parents, you try to sell your children maybe into eating more vegetables or cleaning up their room or putting their toys away. We sell our spouses about things we want to do. What are we going to do for vacation? We sell every day. You sell yourself, you sell your ideas, and you sell your desire for cooperation and companionship to almost everyone you engage with throughout the day. So the first epic fail that I'm going to talk about is a failure to recognize that fundraising is selling. As I said in the last slide, we sell every day. And by the way, be sure to put any stories you would like to in chat. Sarah will interrupt me. She'll ask questions that you might have so that if I have the answer, I'll try to answer it, or we'll get you the answer at some later date. Remember, the first fail that we have is the failure to understand that fundraising is selling. And what is it selling? We're selling our cause. We sell every day. Asking is a fundamental part of our existence as fundraisers. It's not what you ask for, or even if you ask, but how you go about asking. Cause selling, as I said earlier, is based on a relationship model of selling, just like they do in the for-profit world. I'm going to challenge you to rethink your definition, some of those definitions that you put in your chat. Rethink your definition of selling in the nonprofit landscape and share examples of how you will sell every day, specifically how you will sell your cause, whether it's the YMCA or a faith-based charity like Lutheran Social Services. Tell me how you would sell. And we sell all day long as nonprofit fundraisers. You're selling your ideas of your organization, you're selling the perspectives of your organization, and the priorities to almost everyone you engage with. As a fundraiser, think of your programs and services as your products. That's the way I want you to think of them, as your products. In what ways are you already convincing or selling, rationalizing or selling or encouraging selling of a donor to invest in your cause? When you're asking them to invest in your cause, you are selling them all of the things that you have about your cause, which is important to them. My bet is that you're selling in more ways than you realize. Here's a key takeaway as it relates to this fundraising fail. You do not succeed on personality or passionate beliefs alone. Trust me, if you only needed your passion and your personal ethics, etc., in order to get a gift, you would be a wildly successful fundraiser. However, that's not the things that necessarily get to that yes when we make an ask. It's about your cause. In a perfect world, it would only take your personality and your passions. As a professional fundraiser, you are indeed selling, cause selling an idea, as I said, a concept, a solution to meet a community needs. That's what you're selling. You're selling that solution your organization has to meet a community need. By embracing the notion of selling, you are not being disloyal to your mission or the core values of your organization. It's quite the opposite. In fact, by selling, you are fully embracing proven business models so that the future of your organization will be realized and you can keep your promise, whether it's a promise you make to those who are homeless, the promise you make to those who are victims of violence, the promise you make to those who are undernourished, a promise you make to those who need more education. Whatever your promise is, you can help fulfill that promise by understanding that you have to sell your cause. And that is the first fail. Any comments in any of the things, be sure to let me know. So the second fail that I see is understanding the heart of giving to a nonprofit. And I like to say this, giving is, someone mentioned a transaction. You're right. Giving is not transactional. Giving is an act of love. I love to say this because I really firmly believe this. When a donor makes a gift to your organization, it's an act of love. What are your thoughts? What do you think? That's my thought about why a donor makes a gift. What are your thoughts about why donors give specifically to your organization? Here again, I'm going to ask you to put some things in chat. Why does anyone give to your organization? Sarah, let me know if anyone has put anything in there.
All right, let's get the chat going. So like Jack mentioned, we are curious, friends, why do donors give to your organization? So Daniel here writes, personal connection to the cause. That's a good reason. Sharon's got, they trust us. Jennifer says here, because they want to create a legacy or a public acknowledgement.
Yes.
Or maybe they want to be something bigger than themselves. That's a good one. I've got in the chat, their family member was a previous client.
Wow.
That's great. Yeah, lots of wonderful reasons. What are your thoughts about why donors give to your organization? We've got another one. Kristen says, to have an impact on the community. I love that.
Wow.
Jess says, they share at least some of our core values and love the positivity of the mission, and they are personally connected to music in some way. That's right. Yeah, that's great. That's a real strong reason as to why donors give to your organization.
What I love about all of these answers is that this is not a fail that they have, because they all have really good reasons. They understand the heart and soul, the passion, the priorities of their donors as it relates to their specific cause. Now, here's the thing. We know that no two donors are alike, okay? Some operate on emotion, some operate with rational understanding. Some of those things that we heard early in chat, Sarah, one was because they had been a previous client of the organization. That sounds to me like an emotional motivation. The heart is that it's emotional. Some said because they want to make a better community. Again, it's a mix of emotion and rational things that bring about the reasons why they make. There are many reasons why people give. Some give to become close to the community. We heard that in chat. Or to a group. Some donors want to change someone's life. My gosh, that is an act of love, definitely. Some family that is struggling in poverty, they want to change their lives. That's an act of love. Some give to get a tax deduction. Yes, there are some people who give to get a tax deduction, but that number of people who do just for that reason is diminishing as a result of the change in tax laws in 2018. And some give in response to a friend or colleague. That's the connection thing that I heard Sarah mention, that someone talked about. They're connected to someone in the organization, a friend, a colleague, or someone on your board that they know. Other giving motivations might be to create a good image for themselves in the community. That's that legacy answer that I heard in chat.
Yeah.
Or,
Can
yeah,
I pause you there, Jack, on that
sure,
legacy
yes.
answer? I have this really great comment in the chat from Jess that has a breakthrough thought. We love a workshop breakthrough thought. Everyone focuses on having us tell the recipients of our services, having the recipients of our services tell their stories, lives change, etc. But what happens if we ask our donors to tell their stories? I love
Love
that.
it. I do too. Thank you
Having
for
your donors
interrupting.
tell their stories of why they give to the organization. So that's just a wonderful way to, I think, building that community, just like you were talking about, Jack. Sorry,
Right.
I had to interrupt you. It was
No,
such a
good.
great
I love
thought.
whoever said that, A plus. You're
Thank you,
moving
Jess.
straight to the head of the class. And guess what? Sarah's going to give you a brand new car. No, she's not. Okay. That's not going to happen. Okay. But really good. You know what I love about storytelling? I'm just going to add to that. You guys, when you're writing your case for support, one of the key parts of our case for support is storytelling, because it appeals to the emotion. Maybe I'm going to just add something. Maybe we should have our donors tell a story that we also include in that case for support, that guides us as we write grants and write our annual giving letters, etc. That's a great idea. And the other thing I want to say about that comment, which I really love about it, Sarah, is that it's so donor centric. Donor-centric fundraising is the heart of relationship building. Really important. Even, as we talk through our cause selling cycle, really important. I love that. And definitely, Sarah, interrupt me anytime when you get some breakthrough suggestion like that. Totally. So as I was saying, some give in response to a friend or colleague asking them. If you look at the USA Giving Report last couple of months ago, the number one reason why people make a gift is because someone asked them. But other giving motivations might be to create a good image for themselves in the community. Remember, we said that earlier. Or to be seen as a leader or role model. So true. They give to leave a legacy that perpetuates them. Where we see this motivation really exemplified in naming opportunities. They want to leave a legacy that will outlive their own life. So they put their name on some building, maybe at a university or at a hospital, or on a wing of a hospital or something like that. The other thing is that they are moved to make a gift because they feel fortunate. This is a strong emotion. They feel that they have benefit. I once talked to a donor who came to the United States as an immigrant, very poor. He had $128 in his pocket, and he became a very wealthy landowner in Northern California. And he felt very fortunate when I asked him, why are you interested in he wanted to make a big gift to an organization that I worked with. And I asked him, why would you want to make this large of a gift? What is your motivation? He said, because I have been blessed and I have been able to accumulate a vast amount of wealth. So they feel fortunate, or they may feel guilty that they're so fortunate, or to give something back to others. I love that motivation. All acts of love. Some donors make a gift because they believe in your organization, in your mission, and they want to help advance that mission by making a gift, and advancing your mission makes them feel good. And the key here is, with this epic fail, is when you understand the motivation of giving, you can tailor your presentation, your ask, to meet that individual's driving force behind their gift making. And you will be able to make valuable connections by communicating effectively with your donors. I worked in healthcare philanthropy and in hospitals in Southern California and Northern California during my career. And so many people would give to various things at that hospital because they wanted to help people. I used to be able to raise so much money for our emergency rooms, both in Los Angeles and in San Francisco. Now, here's the reason why. Not because they wanted to be in the emergency room. Who wants to be in an emergency room? No one. It means something bad has happened. They wanted to give to the emergency room for several reasons. They wanted vulnerable victims of car accidents or violence or just any kind of accident to get the best care they could. And the second reason was, should they ever need to be in an emergency room, they wanted to be able to go to the best emergency room. So that's a motivation. So here's the key takeaway from this slide. Understand their motivations, and many of you do. And not only the motivations of some donors, but try to figure out the motivations of segments of your donors.
Yeah.
Really important.
Before you move to the next slide, Jack, I wanted to give another example. If since we have such a small group and a little bit more time in this workshop, I love your example of the healthcare space, but I wanted to share, since we have a diversity of different organizations on the call. I used to work for a higher ed institution of learning, in which there were some donors, right? I'm going to give a specific example of donors who maybe supported a fellowship to, support students who maybe couldn't pay for their graduate education in full. And so their motivation was to understand, and as a fundraiser, I was trying to understand the heart of why that donor gave to fellowships. Why do they really care deeply about their students? And so that key takeaway, understanding the motivation for your tailored specific segment of donor, can really tailor your presentation. That's why I love Jess's comment about what happens if we ask our donors to tell their stories. That helps you tailor your actions and your presentation to how you can most effectively communicate with them. In my example of the fellowship donors, we put together a stewardship program in which we always tell the stories of the students, what they learned, what they were studying in their graduate program. But then we also gave the donors the opportunity to meet those students and say, hey, this is why I'm giving to you. So it's a two-way street, that communication and that effective understanding of what the heart of giving is can really support wonderful relationships between you, your donors, and the causes they serve.
One of the most fun things I did, I was a major gift manager and I was a legacy giving, plan giving manager
Yeah.
for an organization. And, people would call me up, and it was a faith-based organization. And people would call me up and say, I want to leave some part of my estate, excuse me, to the organization. And they would come in and I would talk with them. And the first question I always ask them is, what do you want to accomplish with your gift? What impact do you want to have with your gift? Whether it was a gift of $25,000 or $250,000. And it back to that chat where they said, ask your donor. You don't have to have it written down for them to just constantly be doing that. Ask them, what do they want to accomplish? One of the things that I love to say in the cause selling cycle is ask people, ask your prospects, ask your donors. They'll tell you. When you ask them, the second thing that you do is listen to them. And they're going to tell you, and like Sarah just said, that will inform how you will make a presentation to them or ask them for a gift in the future. Really important. One of my favorite people who I always have their book around, I don't know if you could see it, Start With Why, is Simon Sinek. And I'm just going to briefly go over this slide, because it informs some of the other things. Remember when I said, ask your donors why? This is the reason. So every organization and individual knows what they do. You know what your organization does. This is how the mission, this is about the mission, the service you provide, etc. For example, as the director of development of an organization, a homeless shelter for women, we provide housing and basic necessities for women experiencing homelessness. And I seek, as the director of development, contributions from individuals and institutions in support of my organization. That's what I do. Okay. So we all know what we do, and we also know how we do it. How we do it is when we communicate our how with this same example, it might be, here's how we do it at our organization. We provide shelters for homeless women and we specifically are geared to providing them shelter and case management and financial empowerment training. Maybe we do some job training. Maybe we help them with their children. Maybe we get them their GED. That's how we do it. But really, why is the most important thing? This is where we want to start, at the center of that circle, okay? Very few people and very few organizations can clearly articulate why they do what they do. And here's some additional information on this why. The why of your organization is the purpose, the cause or belief that drives every one of us. Do you know how I tell people to answer this question? By doing this. We believe in. We are accountable for. So when we answer the why question, we provide a clear answer to the following questions. Why do you get out of bed every morning? Trust me, I find it harder and harder as I get older to get out of the bed. Why does your organization exist? Beyond your products, the homeless shelter for women, why does your organization exist beyond your products, beyond your growth, and beyond your profit? Why should anyone care about the work that you do? Making money is not a why. Revenues, profits, salaries, and other monetary measures are the results of what you do. The why is about your organization's contribution to serve and impact others' lives. The why is what inspires you and will inspire your donors. And as we go through the other remaining epic fails, you'll see a connection between why. So I would like, if you would like to, just answer the question, why does your organization exist? Not what it does, not how it does, but why. It could be a statement that starts with, we believe. So if you want to try that, and Sarah, let me know if you get any chats around that.
Sounds good. I'm going to give people just a minute to think through this, because I know it's definitely a concept that you want to think through. You want to take this back to your organization that may know, really consistently what you do. Maybe it's on your flyers, maybe it is on the front page of your website, and how you do it is likely also written out. But how many of you can really think critically about your organization and think in a broader sense why your organization was founded? Great question actually from Sharon. Is this the same as a mission statement, Jack?
Yeah, it's related to a mission statement.
Very, very related, yes.
Yeah, you know what I see in many mission statements in my consulting practice, Sharon, is that I see mission statements are the what and how, but not the why. And I'll give you an example of an organization I worked with. They're just changing their mission statement. They're working on it, but it was a hospice care for senior citizens at the end of their lives. Okay, and what they had is, we provide care for people at the end of their lives and their families. That's what they do. We have an Alzheimer's support group. It was all part of the mission. But what I wanted them to say in that mission is why. Why do you provide care at the end of someone's life? And when they got to that why, which for them was, they believed that everyone, as they pass to the next world, the next life, or whatever it is you believe in, they deserved to be cared for in a way that respected both them as they transition out of this world, but care for them and also care for their families. That was the why. And when they started articulating their mission in terms of why, Sharon, they were able to raise way more money.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent example, Jack. I think that a mission statement can often be just the why and how, but it's very possible if you work with your organization, work with your leaders, and work with your staff to really, and your the clients that you serve, to really understand that a mission statement can be much more. It can be the why. So we've got some answers in the chat, and I'm going to read them out because I think they're so wonderful to see all the different diverse groups that are here represented in our workshop. So Alva says, I love this one. We believe that people with disabilities have unlimited potential and the right to equality of opportunity. Wow, that's a great one. That's a great why.
Is that her mission statement? Is that your mission statement? I don't know who the person was who said that.
Alba, yeah, if you want to let us know if it is. I'm like, it's real great. So excellent job there.
Yeah.
I'm going to read out another one. So I got for Jennifer. We strive to offer a Jewish day school education to every student who wants to attend. I think you're on the cusp of it there. We're getting real clarity on the what, real clarity on the how, but I think I can push you a little bit more. I think you can go even further.
That last part of that statement, to every child,
student who wants to attend.
That's the why.
It's there.
For the Jewish, it's there. I'd bring that up further.
Every
student who wants to attend a day school, whether inability to pay or not, or whatever that is. When I worked for a hospital in Los Angeles, and our mission was, we believe that every single patient who comes into our hospital deserves care regardless of their inability to pay. That was our mission statement. So regardless of, meaning that every single mom who delivered a baby there deserve the same level of care that someone who might be at Mount Sinai or Cedars or UCLA Medical Center. And it was really a beautiful sentiment. It was a hospital that was in, a very disproportionate share. We call disproportionate share, meaning majority, 80% of our patients could not afford to pay for their care at the hospital. But the mission was that they deserve the same high level of care as anyone else.
All right. I've got a couple more and then we'll move on. Christian says, we envision a region in which people and nature are interconnected and thriving, where diverse communities find common ground to prioritize and respond to the climate crisis and other urgent threats to birds in the natural world, and give shape to an enduring culture of conservation and sustainability.
Yeah.
That's a big why. We love it.
What I love about that one, Sharon? It's a vision of the future. Here is the thing. I want to say this, and I know that one of the epic fails that I see, not in these 10, we constantly are talking about our history, but donors don't give to our history. They give to our future. The gift that they make to you today is a vision for the future. And I've seen this, last year we housed 33,000 homeless people. Congratulations. That says that you're credible, but it doesn't tell me what you see going down in the future. Because the gift I make to end or mitigate homelessness is a gift for the future, not for your past. So I love that. Whatever organization, beautiful. Well done. That is not an epic fail, by the way. That's an epic success.
I got another one. My organization, Cristo Rey San Diego High School, exists because we believe that students of limited financial means should have access to an excellent education that prepares them for success in college and the professional workforce. Woo, I got chills. That's wonderful.
That is a vision of the future. I am familiar with the Cristo Rey model of education, and it's beautiful model. It's growing around the country. I'm familiar with a Cristo Rey that opened in Oakland. It's interesting because a former board member of an organization that I worked for, he went and to help establish that high school. And it's a great model, and it is a vision for the future. I bet you UC San Diego has a vision for the future. I bet you, many organizations do that. Anyone else? That's a beautiful vision for the future.
I got it. And then I'm going to share two more, and then we are going to move to the next epic fail. So this one from Addison. We keep seeing this envision word for the future. Y'all are doing a great job. We envision vibrant community food systems rooted in justice and sustainability, where everyone has equitable opportunity to produce, distribute, prepare, serve, and eat nutritional, culturally appropriate food. In our vision, producers and food workers are treated fairly, sustainable and regenerative practices are prioritized, people are engaged, communities are empowered, and farms, fisheries, and food businesses are thriving and contributing to local economies. Love it.
Beautiful.
All this wonderful visions for it makes me so uplifted to see all of you sharing these whys, because it gives me a vision for the future that is beautiful and thriving. So thank you all for sharing. And then I'll share Daniel's as well, their why, thinking about our why in the future. We believe in a world free from relationship and sexual violence. That is an excellent why.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Right. And that brief statement, and I'm sure they'll go on to say what they do to see that happen and how they do it. And that's beautiful. But that one sentence grabs you. You know what I think, Sharon? I think we should do a workshop on 10 successful 10 epic successes. And you know what? I would like to use
And we're
some
going
of
to
these.
invite all of you here from this
No,
workshop.
I'm not going to give them any credit. I'm going to act like I made it up. Okay. No, definitely. These are really beautiful successes. I'm going to go on to number 3 because I know we're going to run out of time because I could go on and on and on about this. So, we talked about that first area in cause selling as prospecting and the importance of it. Here's the thing. I said earlier, everybody asked me, how do I find new donors? Jack, help us. Our organization needs to acquire new donors. We need a donor pipeline. Every organization needs that. And here is one of the epic fails I see over and over and over again. And that's not asking your board members and major donors to assist you in finding other donors by making referrals. Maybe some of you are familiar. I hope you all are familiar. In 1991, Hank Rosso, who was one of the founders of the Lilly School of Philanthropy, easy for you to say, Sarah, at Indiana University, created a concentric circles model of prospecting. And at the very center of that prospecting were board members, staff, and major donors. Here is the thing about it. Referrals are the most powerful technique in fundraising. When you fail to ask your board members or major donors or your administration to give you referrals, it's a fail. So here, how do you overcome that? Ask them. It's really important. I don't care what the campaign is. It could be your major gift campaign. It could be your capital campaign that you're going to do. It could be an endowment campaign, or it could be a legacy giving campaign. Ask those 3 constituent groups to make referrals. Here's the thing that happens when you get a referral, especially from donors. When I was a major gift donor, I would meet with someone, they'd make a major gift to my organization, and I would say to them, thank you so much for your gift. Do you know anyone in your circle of influence or in your network who might also have an interest or a connection or some other motivation, which we talked about before, or a reason why they might be interested in making a gift? And they would give it to us. Research shows that 80% of your current donors, whether they're major gift donors or not, 80% of them are willing to recommend other donors to your organization. Think about it, people, 80%. So if you're not asking your major donors in a very respectful way to make a gift, then you're not being successful as you can. Remember this also, and I'll go on to the next slide. When you ask for referrals, ask with respect. And some of the examples we give is, I would say something like this: Mr. Smith, I know you care about our work with preventing gang violence. Do you know anyone in your circle of influence, in your network, who you could recommend might also have an interest or connection to this program that we have at our organization? Ask for help. It's, I'm a big person. I said earlier, asking and then listening are 2 of the most important techniques we have in our toolkit. So ask for help. When you ask your donors and your board members for help, they are gonna help you. They believe in you, they believe in your cause, etc. I'll tell you something. If a donor said to me, I really don't want to give you referrals, I would have to take a look at what I'm doing. Is it, Sharon said earlier about trust, about transparency. What am I doing that I'm not doing right in my stewardship of that donor that they're not willing to make a referral? And then secondly, maybe they just don't want to make a referral, and you you should explore with them about that. Remember, when you ask for a gift, you're going to get advice. And believe me, in my career, another great ask that I would do is say, hey, we're running this program on gang violence. We don't seem to be impacting, this community over here. What do you think we should do? And then just listening to what the response is. I've been reading a lot about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And a lot of organizations are saying, yeah, we believe in this, but how do we implement it? And you know what I say to them? Get together a group of marginalized people and ask them. Ask them how they want to be included. Ask them how they want to see equity in your organization, and ask them what diversity means for them. Whether it's LGBTQ community or African American community or the Latino community, whatever it is, ask them, listen to them, and then follow through on what you're going to do. And I think you ask with respect, you ask for help, you explain how it works. I'm going to contact that person and ask them about whether they would like to come and learn more about our program. Explore a little with them about that individual, and then report back to them. Say, hey, Mr. Smith, I called Mrs. Jones. She was interested. She wanted to come and see our program as it relates to gang violence and what we're doing to prevent gang violence, and then thank them. It's really important. Anything in chat, Sarah? Anybody have anything? Who gets good referrals from their board members? Does anyone get?
I see one, let's see, like one chat from Addison. My organization recently started hosting bi-monthly resource organization, bi-monthly resource organizing check-ins with our full staff and board team to co-generate leads and strategize relationships together. That's wonderful.
Yes.
We love a community co-generation of lead strategy. That's so wonderful to get everybody in a room together, and whether that's a digital room or a physical room, I think that there's so much to be said about asking for referrals in a respectful way. I love that. You got some snaps from Daryl about asking, groups really how you want to see diversity and inclusion in your organization. I think it's so important to get everyone on the same page, but in a respectful way. I love that our slide really talks about leading with respect and also ending that phase with thanking them, thanking everyone for their time, for their talents. We've got another chat in here from Kristen. We get great referrals from our board and donors. That's awesome.
Nice.
You never know who may have other connections in their circle if you don't ask for referrals.
Right. And
Great stuff.
one of the ways you could overcome that third epic fail is if you have a board engagement form, that the board member signs at the beginning of your fiscal year, whenever it is, they're going to do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do this. Put on there.
Yeah.
Referrals and see what happens. Our fourth epic fail is researching and anticipating donor questions prior to your meeting with them. Those of you who said in chat that you do once a month these things, one of the things that you might do is research, get a list of those people who are going to attend and research them, the questions that they may have. You will be able to answer lots of questions about your programs and services. But think about the questions that you're going to ask them. Think about the questions they're going to ask you. Really important thing. I know some fundraisers don't do any of this research about prospects, donors, those they're trying to cultivate, any of these things. Here's my fail. Oh, they have money, so let's go ask them for money. That's not a reason. And this could be really an epic fail. One of the things we do at the Fundraising Academy, as we talk about this pre-approach checklist, some of the questions that you might answer before you have that monthly meeting in that relationship: who drives philanthropic decisions? Who is the decider? And many times in my career, I have sat down with a man and I said, or a female, a woman or a man, or whoever, and they said, oh, I thank you for Jack. Thanks for asking me for this $25,000, but I have to talk to my spouse, my children about this. That's a fail in the sense that I should have known who drives those philanthropic decisions before I asked for the gift. Second thing is, what is the giving history? Look in your database. Have they given to you? Do they attend your gala? Have they attended one of those monthly cultivation events that I heard in chat? What are their personal interests? What are their personal interests, passions, and priorities? I heard early on that people who have been, gone through the program and used your services, that may be part of their passion, their interest. What other charitable work and giving are they involved in? One of the things that I used to do, I worked for an organization that worked with wild animals who were injured by cars or some other terrible thing. And we were trying to build our donor base. We had vets who volunteered to come and take care of like a deer who may have been hit by a car, all kinds of wild animals, cougars, mountain lions, whatever. And I was looking to help increase their donor base. Guess where I looked? I looked at the Humane Society. They would publish their list of donors, and I would look at that list to see who in that list might be potential donors to a wildlife care facility. So that's really important. And who else are they connected to, like your board members? Here's an example. I worked for St. Francis Medical Center in Los Angeles, and I was the foundation relations manager. And every board meeting, I would go to that board meeting with a list of foundations I was going to solicit over the next quarter, as well as the list of directors of that foundation. I once went to a board meeting and I listed the Hogue Family Foundation. You probably heard of it. They're in Orange County, never given LA County. And I passed out the list of the board members. One of my board members said, wait a minute, my wife plays golf with this woman. From that connection, I was able to get a $250,000 grant. So remember, look for those connections between your board members. Okay, so you recognize the importance of first impression. Listen, guys, I can't emphasize this enough. First impressions matter. Eye contact matters. What are some good first impressions? Remember, here's the rule of 10. We talk about the rule of 10 in the cause selling cycle, which states that the first 10 seconds, the very first 10 seconds, it may even be 7 seconds, I'm not sure, should include a form of thanks, as in, good morning, Mr. Smith. Thank you for agreeing to see me. If it's a previous donor, my first sentence was, good morning, Mr. Smith. Thank you for your gifts to our organization. Here are some other tips. Shake hands like you mean it. If you're shaking hands, some cultures don't shake hands. Some people don't want you to touch them, especially in the age of pandemic. Whatever it is, it might be a fist bump, it might be an elbow bump, it may just be a wave, but mean it. Be sincere, be confident, project yourself as a leader. You are a leader. Say it before you go to the meeting. I am a leader. Positive affirmations work. And don't be insincere or insecure or apologetic. You are not asking a gift for yourself. You're asking for a cause that they believe in, that they are motivated to give. Be different. Here's the thing. Everybody starts every conversation with, how are you? That is like ridiculous now as an expression. There are other things, other questions you could start with. Look around their office. Look around. Do those things that we talked about in the last slide. Find out some things that they may ask you. Start the meeting with that. You might say, sure, you might be interested in a pandemic. How are you guys doing during the course of this pandemic? How is your family faring? If you see photos on their desk, they're backpackers, talk about backpacking. Start differently. Here's the thing. Take the lead. In an initial face-to-face meeting, you and your prospective donors may experience some relationship tension. It happens. Use the opening minutes to ease the tension and establish rapport. Ask them questions to get them talking about themselves. Don't just talk about you. Here's the thing that we like to say in the Fundraising Academy. Treat a donor meeting as you would an interview. They're interviewing you and your cause. Dress for it. Choose the right time and place. At their convenience, not at your convenience. If I called someone up and said, oh, Mr. Smith, I'd like to have a meeting with you to talk more about our cause and maybe ask you to participate in our cause. And they said, well, I can meet with you tomorrow at 10. And I said, oh, no, that won't work for me. That would be ridiculous. Don't do that. That's not donor centric. That's Jack centric. That's not the way to do it. Okay. Make eye contact. Be sure to make eye contact. Looking people in the eye conveys confidence, interest in what they're saying, and respect. Looking away appears like you're too distracted. Never look at your phone in a meeting. I can't tell you this enough. Project an optimistic, appreciative attitude. Thank you very much for your time today. Be sincere with that. Have some questions prepared because you did your homework before you went. That's how you avoid, making the epic fail of not knowing what to talk about. Some questions that you might ask, and remember, we say in the Fundraising Academy, open-ended questions are so valuable in building relationships. It's not that you don't use some closed-ended questions. Of course you do, but you must really have a full repertoire of open-ended questions like, what inspires your giving? What do you want to accomplish with your gift? What was the most meaningful gift you ever gave and why? There's the why question. How would you be interested in seeing our organization grow? What matters to you about what we do? What interests you most about our cause? Remember, answers to these questions help you build relationships and understand them. Plan to respond to common questions. For example, they may ask you, what kinds of community issues and problems are you guys working on? What do you see for the future? If several of you had visions for the future, what do you see for the future of this problem in our San Diego community? What would happen that the organization that worked for meals and did things to build nutrition and were culturally sensitive, what would happen in the community if you didn't exist? Who would suffer? Be prepared to talk about those things and to answer those questions, because they're going to ask you, why is this nutrition program that you do so important? What would happen if you weren't here? What are the credentials of your leaders and direct service staff? What is your budget size? And then, of course, remember to end by thanking the donor. Here's one of the most beautiful things I can't say enough of, but be sincere about this. Remember to say the donor or prospect's name. When we say the name in a sincere way, don't just throw it in there, Jack, 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 Jack. Eventually, I'm going to realize that you're just following some script that you have in your head. And I've been involved in conversations like that. So don't do that. Be meaningful. When you get there, Jack, thanks for seeing me today. Jack, thanks for meeting with me today. Jack, are you aware of this problem in our community? Every time you say my name, my brain lights up. It's what happens. And it's neurologically sound when you do that, to expect that. So these are the first 5. I want to thank you for sitting with me. Now let's talk. We've got a few minutes. I know it's an hour and a half. Is that how long it goes?
Yep.
So
We can go all the way to 11:30, Jack, but for any of those in the workshop that do need to hop to another meeting, we do have this recorded. But if you have questions for Jack or want to add a little bit to the conversation, you're more than welcome to stay with us. So
Yes.
I do want to
here's
share. Oh, go ahead, Jack. Go ahead, Jack.
Here's the thing, guys, for next week, when I come back next week, the last slide, I'm going to go to it. It has my email address.
Yeah.
Please, please, please send me, and I will not share your name. I promise you, I will not share your name. Any epic fails that you may have experienced. Let me tell you one more that I did that's not in this series. Now, many of you, do Albertson supermarkets, are there Albertson supermarkets in San Diego? Okay, I lived in Boise, Idaho. The founder of Albertsons was Joe Albertson. He's long since deceased. And early in my career, I worked for an opera organization in Boise, Idaho. And he was a huge fan of opera. And my very first direct mail campaign, I sent him a letter and asked him for $500. And the next time I saw him, he knew who I was because I was this young, I had this beautiful head of hair, people. It was gorgeous. I will send you a picture if you're interested. Anyway, he came to the next opera and he came up to me and he did this, come over here. And I went over to him. He's like 90 at this point. And he said, why did you ask me for $500? And I said, well, we're doing the direct mail. I said, no. He said, I get that. Why didn't you ask me for $5,000? Because I am capable of giving a $5,000 gift. That was an epic fail. Number 3 was not understanding your prospect or your donor before you meet them. Don't make that mistake. So send me your fails. If you have examples like that, I'm going to give you my email address and I want you to send them to me, please. There's my email, jlotto@nu.edu. So Sarah, I apologize for interrupting. Go for it.
You are good. I just wanted to share a question that some additional 25 cents from Jess. I like that instead of 2 cents. Read their social cues. This is, I think, in response to number 5. Respect personal space. Read their body language. That's incredibly important, especially in something like a virtual world. I think you can also read body language through video. Notice how they process information. Do they need time to reflect and respond before you share more? Be prepared with photos. Some people are very visual. I love the diversity of visual learners. Listen for objections and source them rather than pushing past them. Seek insight. They'll feel more listened to and maybe more willing to listen to you. So just some additional chats before we get to the very end. But I'm also going to put Jack's emails there on the screen, but I'm going to pop in the chat. We're so excited, like Jack mentioned, for any of those who are still able to join us on the call, and this is being recorded. And they're looking forward to part 2 of our 10 epic fails. We went through 1 through 5. We'll be here again next week doing 6 through 10. And Jack would love to hear your anonymous, your own epic fails that we can incorporate into the presentation. I want to give some time also to Sharon too. Sharon, any thoughts or any other things that we want to share with this group?
No, I think it's great. I love hearing your presentation, Jack. You're one of my favorites.
Thank you. You're one of my favorites too.
It's just a little engaging.
Yes, yeah, so engaging and fun and encouraging for everybody.
Great, thank you. Sharon and I are both CFREs. Sharon and I are part of the same tribe, as I like to say, the tribe of certified fundraising executives. I'm one of your ambassadors. In fact, San Diego is my turf. So if you're interested, and I've had many successful students from the San Diego area in my study group, and it's all free. So reach out to me for that as well.
It's great. What a resource.
And I will say one other thing about Sharon. Sharon has never made an epic fail. None of them.
No, I definitely have.
That's sweet. Any questions, anything in chat, Sarah, that you want to share with us? Connect with me on LinkedIn, people, and definitely send me your email.
Yeah, I just popped your email there in the chat for our group, and then I know Sharon is going to send out these slides so they're accessible to all of you. I want to give, maybe we'll just give 15 minutes back to everyone's days. We're so happy that you all joined us here in this extremely engaging workshop. It was just a wonderful joy to get to know each of you here on the call, however long you're able to stay. We invite you to be part of the Fundraising Academy community. There's a ton of resources in the chat, and I'll share those with Sharon as well to send out to the group. We're so thrilled that you were able to join us and join Jack for such a great presentation.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everybody. Sharon, thank you. I've missed
Thank
you.
you,
I'm
Sharon.
I
glad to
know,
see you.
missed you too. Thanks, everybody. Hopefully we'll get to see you next week for part 2. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.